Good morning, good morning. And what can you expect after the holidays, right? Like this was great. I've taken some time off. I don't know if anybody else has, but I've certainly enjoyed my downtime. I hope everybody else had good holidays. And I thought a little bit about Monday morning coffee chat, and I've scheduled this week, this particular episode, to be my episode to go ahead and just recap the past year, the progress we've made, the things we've done, the changes we're going to look forward to. And then I decided no, that we're going to just go ahead, Nicole and I, and announce some changes today and really talk about what we see coming up for 2026. So I am so glad everybody is here. I'm super excited to be collaborating with Nicole in 2026. We've got some great things coming up. And um, with that, Nicole, why don't you tell them a little bit? Well, I'll tell them a little bit more about my background than you can. So, I am an entrepreneur of 37 years. I've built 9 businesses from concept to profit. I sold the first 6 due to burnout and overwhelm. I built those from concept to profit by myself, doing all the work myself. Okay, let's be honest. My husband did the physical things like building stores for me, but I ran them. Um, I came up with the concept. I did all the marketing and things like that. So very overwhelming. And I was homeschooling 4 kids while doing that. The last 2 businesses, I finally figured out what I needed to do different so that I could avoid the overwhelm and the burnout. And I love those businesses. I sold those to take care of my mom, who passed away about 5 months after I sold them. So at that point, I decided to come online and teach women to build online businesses that they're madly passionate about. Now, that has spread clearly to men. I was talking to my husband last night and told him that I actually have more male clients than I have female clients, oddly enough. But what I do is I take Go High Level and I simplify it. So if you've been given Go High Level by a company you work with, or maybe you purchased it and you opened it and you're like, oh my gosh, so much going on in here. I want to run. First, I want to scream. Then I want to bury my head like an ostrich in the sand because I can't dive into this. It's just too much. So I take that and I strip everything out. Everything that's in there that's overwhelming, I strip out and I simplify it for you and only put in the things that you need. In collaboration with Nicole, the part that I do is I organize and simplify your back end office so that once you get leads from summits and speaking engagements and things like that, they go through a workflow that's already there and automated for you. And that way you're not only capturing your leads, but you're able to nurture those leads and eventually monetize them. So that's the part that I bring to the table. Nicole, go ahead and tell us about what you do.
Oh, wow. So I gotta come after that. Hey, right? It's been an honor to meet Colleen, and that's what happens when you change your schedule and decide you're going to get six up at 6 o'clock in the morning when you used to go to bed at 11 a.m. for 20 something years, right? Made a shift, made it happen. But really, here for those of you who don't know who I am, what do I bring to the table? And there was a lot of thought in this and some posts that came up yesterday. And 3 years ago, when I reflect on it, I was deep in the trenches of AI and the metaverse. Yeah, the whole techie nerderpreneur thing. I am from Silicon Valley and I own it all the way back to Pong, set 10.5-inch floppy disks. But I was learning to code into UE5. What is that? It's Unreal Engine. What's Unreal Engine, Nicole? It's virtual reality. So where you learn to code and the really techie techs go in there and start to code for games and build out worlds. We had to actually put the whole code in, go back to MS-DOS. Those of you where, our audience is 40 plus, but if you haven't used MS-DOS, it's back in the day with the green screen, the yellow computer, you threw the 10.5 floppy disk in there and you had a code and you had to talk to the computer in computer speak. You can't just drag and drop anymore. However, what does that reflect to is when I was learning to code, I realized that I was reading stuff on AI and what AI could do. Well, it could code the system already. It could build out systems by itself. All it needed was maybe 1 or 2 tweaks. And if you're not super deep into the coding world, you won't know what those are. And so if I'm learning, I'm not going to be able to keep up with AI. And it was like, pff, I'm not going to beat the robot. I'm not going to beat the system. But what I can do is take all this stuff. And really I was training the sales team to actually use the tech to sell the tech and say, hey, when people are buying into the metaverse, and you guys remember hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, some of it's free now and it's all drag and drop, but I was teaching people how to use these systems and they were futuristic, but where can you go with events? How can you can up level your Spotify store and now you have a 3D website that people can walk in and try your clothes on. It's perfect for a bridezilla at 3 in the morning when she's got her fuzzy bunny slippers on and she's got her feet up and she's drinking a glass of wine trying on her bride dress right before she flies out to New York. What a way to do that. And so teaching the sales team to utilize the tech in a very simple way. You saw today, we did a thing. Yeah, we fumbled a little bit, but it's our first time together doing the system. And so that's what I bring. It's like, hey, you've got to do the thing. You've got to try it. And if you don't get it out of the way, you'll never learn. And that's what this brought it in. So teaching people how to use these platforms. And the problem was with the business, it was powerful. We had a big vision. We were getting ready to sign contracts with multi-million-dollar producers for the music industry because this is the way of the future. And we were getting in big. And then they decided they didn't want to take the contract. So bringing all that together and really bringing that kind of digital creatrix, digital stages and say, hey, I've held events in there. I've worked in there. What can we do? Well, I can help people with the tech and the Zoom and say, hey, this is what you can do to power your business. Because you have to have a podcast. You have to be online. People want to know about your business. How do they do it? Well, you do what we do today. So we're glad you guys are here. And Colleen, let's get into this today. I think it's great. This is just my passion. You can see I just nerded out and I love it.
All right. So, Nicole, do you want to share your screen with the brew and stew on it? And I'll tell them a little bit about that while you're pulling it up. And so, brew and stew media spotlight is what Nicole and I are creating together. And let's see. If anybody has, well, let me just talk about my experience. When I came online, I had not done anything online before. I did for my businesses have a Shopify store, and I had sales reps throughout the United States that did pop-up sales. But they did those. I didn't do those, and I hired out the Shopify store. So I literally did nothing online except embarrass my children, and they would constantly tell me, "Mom, please take that down. At least edit it." Well, whatever. And I was like, I don't care. So I did nothing online before. When I came online, I took a couple courses, learned that I really need to build my email list. Now, it was building. I remember being super excited when I reached 27 people on my email list because I felt like it was over 25 and 25 was my goal. And I hit that overnight to get to 27, thought that was amazing. And the progress was really slow building my email list. And what changed for me was speaking. When I got out and started speaking at events, then that made a change for me. Then my email list grew substantially and quickly. And I was able to build relationships with those people and really start growing my business. So together, Nicole and I have created the Brew and Stew Media Spotlight. So Brew being Monday Morning Coffee Chat, and Stew is a combination of Nicole's Pain Point podcast that she does. So we combine those two to make Brew and Stew Media Spotlight. And what it does is we're providing the opportunity for people to get seen and heard in 2026 in a simple fashion. And so let's dive into that and really tell them what our website's about and what the collaboration's about, Nicole. One of the things that it says on the site is that your perfect moment isn't coming. Now, that's a hard truth. Most of us as entrepreneurs have realized that and know that we really have to get in there and make magic happen for ourselves, right? But I also know that there's still a group of entrepreneurs that are waiting, right? They're waiting for the right time. And so the shift that happens, Nicole, that we find there is a mindset shift when someone finally decides that, hey, my time is now. And then they really step out of that comfort zone that they've been cocooned in and really get out of the quiet zone and decide that they're just going to take the world by the balls, basically, for lack of better words, I was commenting on somebody's post on social media yesterday, and they were saying that midlife, there's this time when you have to step out of your cocoon and you have to start doing these things. And really what it is midlife taking you by the shoulders and saying, hey, quit screwing around. This is your time to shine. Take it and make it what you want it to be. And so, Nicole, let's talk about that mindset shift that has to happen for people to go from, hey, my cocoon is warm and fuzzy, and yeah, I'm making a little bit of money, and when the time is right, I'll do this, to no, it's now. You're muted. Can't hear you. Still can't hear you.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's a glitch in the matrix. It says my connection is unstable. Who knows why? But anyway, let me bring that screen back up. So, hey, tech is gonna happen to you, right? We're happening to tech. It's just the way that it is. So if you guys can see my screen and this floating Zoom thing here just won't stop for whatever reason. So there we go. So really choosing your path when you're stepping into who you are. I mean, I left a 20-year career. I got forced out. And that's okay. It took that to get me out of there and say, hey, fumble and fall. And what do you want to do? There was a few things, but when you step into your grace and you're like, hey, what do I need to do? It is so simple now. You don't have to go into a media. You don't have to find a PR group. You don't need a press release because when you release your own media out there and you're live, not only do you take the control back, but also you're going to share to the platforms that you know. And a press release doesn't always work that way. But if you're going to do a press release and you want to share it to a few other people, let's think of how that works when you unpack that. I hear people talk about, I want to be on the TEDx stage right now, doing the thing. Well, that's fine. Do you have the $5,000 it takes to put the contract through? And it looks like it keeps. Yeah, there you go. Thanks. That and yours is working a little better. There you go. So when you're in this and you're saying, hey, this is my perfect moment, and when you're stepping into that and you see that, hey, what do you need to do? You need to get on the stage. You need to grab your mic. You need to start recording yourself. And you know what? It doesn't matter what you look like today because tomorrow you can start to tweak that, right? Um, just show up, maybe brush your hair, turn on the camera and start talking. You can get on other people's stages. And it's a lot. The how to is a lot. Once you've established your why and you're over that, you're in midlife now. You have your why. You know what that is. Now you grab the bull by the horns and everything else. You're just going to buck that bronco and come in here and say, what do I need to do? You need to get on the stage. And why does this work so great? Is because you have two podcasts. So you have the coffee chat today, which is on Monday, and then Wednesday is the Pain Point podcast. We both talk about business solutions. We talk about the business pain points. And this is what you're getting. You're getting a little bit of two different worlds coming together. A little Thelma, a little Louise, I mean, you got to fumble through it a little bit. But what you realize is that we're human and we're not trying to make it perfect because it's not going to, the someday is not a day of the week, right? I'm looking for it. I've been looking for it for a long time. But when you're talking about you want your message to speak out loud. You can have a commercial. There's video, there's fun graphics, there's all kinds of ways to do your commercial. And that commercial in a sponsorship package goes to not only two of the podcasts, but it goes to the podcast that Colleen and I will be doing Tuesday and Thursday. It's going to go up on the YouTube channels. It's going to go out to thousands of people in our community because now we have a shared community. We have a school platform. We'll talk about that in a minute. Or if you don't want to come on the podcast, maybe you've been on one of our podcasts or both before, you can sponsor that. And why do you want to sponsor that is because you want to get your message out. You're working hard. Do you want to work with people that are truly going to collaborate with you, or do you want to pay some unknown person that you don't know that's been on Fiverr for a while in some other unknown universe? Maybe they're in their basement, maybe they're in a different country, but They're not looking at your audience. You know your audience. And we talk to people that have been in business at least probably 5 years, or have had some CEO high level connections in the corporate world that want to do business. We're not trying to be fancy. We're not trying to, pat you on the head. We want you out there. And it's important, like Colleen, what I learned from her all the time is that it's important to talk to people. It's important to connect, and it's important to engage. But the biggest thing is, are you attracting your aligned leads, or are you just trying to get out there for namesake? And that's why a lot of people, especially in our with our avatar, have stopped doing it because they were with the wrong people. We want to guide you through the right path. So this is what we're doing with that.
I love that, Nicole. And I think that, we're talking about waiting until everything's perfect to show up. I will tell you that when I came online, and this has been a few years, probably 3 years now, and I did my first live, funniest thing ever, beautiful day outside, and the power goes out. I'm live and the power goes out. And I know we have solar backup. And so I'm like, okay, everybody just hang with me. And I count to 10 and boom, solar kicks in. I'm like, okay. And so we're back. Da, da, da. Well, then the power comes back on. Same thing in reverse. Like you could not have screwed this live up anymore, right? But the thing is that when you're waiting for it to be perfect, is that to attract the perfect person? Because I don't know that person. I know a lot of people. I've lived in 27 states. I know a lot of people. I don't know the perfect person. What I want and what I'm trying to reach, and I think most entrepreneurs need in their business, is the relatability. We need people that we can relate to that aren't striving, maybe we want to do better and better, but perfect's not necessarily the goal. The goal is to keep showing up. The goal is to share the things we're passionate about. The goal is to share how what we have can be beneficial to others, and it's to share it with other real people that take action, not real that are perfectly aesthetically pleasing, right? And so that's just a part of it. Now, when I started looking for places to go online and be seen and heard, when I decided that was the way to do things, I joined a summit and I paid a lot of money to join the summit. It was over $500 to join a summit. And everything was fine. There was very little interaction. I didn't know the people, couldn't tell you to this day what their names were, who were hosting the summit. But when it came time for me to speak, I did my presentation and then sat back, grabbed my notebook, was so excited for whoever was next. And they were selling adult toys in the next presentation, which was not what I was selling and not even close. I was so shocked. And I realized right then that alignment is key. There's no reason for me to be in an audience with people in that group, right? And so one of the things I loved when I gave it a second chance and I hired Nicole to put on a host a summit for me. And one of the things I realized is the alignment. She knew exactly who my target audience was, and she knew how to connect me with them and making sure that the speakers were all on the same page and that everything flowed and was smooth. And it was such a beautiful experience and such an easy way to be seen and heard. And so that really put my faith back in humanity of summits and speaking and putting my voice out there. And then realizing on top of that, the lead generation was just amazing and the relationships. And so there are different ways to do summits. There are different ways to have podcasts. But when people invite you in to share your voice, and they're encouraging you to interact with the other people that are there, that makes a huge, huge difference. Because then, my friends, you become the relationship builder. You're building relationships with people, and this is what makes it lasting, right? This is what makes your business something that people want to come back to all the time. It is no different than brick and mortar store. And I've done that for years and years and years, right? And if you have two different brick and mortar stores side by side and you go in one and you're greeted by name and they know you and they look at you and they're like, oh, let me grab you your favorite. And they get it for you. And there's a relationship there because they know you. You go in another one and maybe all of the employees are hired and they're minimum wage and they don't care if don't have a vested interest in the business, and they're like, as you come in, and they just let you do your thing and they're ready to ring you up, and there's no greeting, there's no interaction, there's no relationship building. Which one are you going back to? And it's the same exact concept online. And so as entrepreneurs, we need to remember that because this isn't the dine and dash, right? This is where we want to actually build relationships and get to know people. And speaking on podcasts, on summits, events like that really gives you the opportunity to do that. Now, as Nicole said, if you're not quite ready for that, then of course there's always the opportunity to do sponsorships, right? To do commercials, to do things of that nature. But I will say too that if you've already been on one of our podcasts and maybe you have something new coming out that you want to share with the world, maybe you've created a master class, or maybe you have um, a new coaching offer or something of that nature that you really want to share, or you're representing a new product, then this is something that you should revisit. It is way simpler than starting over with another podcast, is to come back where you already know people and get on that again, you know. And it's not a huge application process. It's really very, very simple. Nicole, do you want to take us through a little bit of what the application process? I know that we meet with people and narrow things down, but you want to take them through that process a little bit?
Sure, sure. So the application process is really a simple form, all right? What is your avatar? So when we're talking about that, it's like, what is your avatar? Who's your audience? What are you looking for? What's your message? So you already know that. You've been in business, you know your avatar. So it's easy peasy stuff that you share all the time. And but what we're going to definitely do is get on a phone call with you and say, "Hey, let's really assess your needs and your outreach and make sure that we're aligned and that we have all the details in there." So it's just a very simple form. And you're also going to submit a headshot, a logo, your website links. We want a short bio. And if you have a QR code, fine. If you don't, we'll help you with it. So we have two forms. You can do the commercial, or you can just share like a placard, and that'll go out to everybody. It's going to go out to all the communities. So there's a few thousand with our combined communities that we're going out to, right? So we're talking 5,000 plus, right? And everything with these events, where are you going to be seen and heard, and where are people really going to look for you? Because if you're looking for the magic channel, and somebody said, "Hey, get on my super special secret channel that nobody can find," what's the point of all that? Where is everybody? Why YouTube? Because everybody's on YouTube. They're on Rumble. They're on YouTube. They're on these simple places. They're on the media platform. And when we have something like this, and we definitely have the community with the Hounds of Business, and that's what we're looking for, is not only here, but we're also developing a school platform, and that is where we're going to share you too, right? We're going to share you with all this stuff. So it's a very simple it's a very simple sponsorship, simple growth in there, in what we're doing and how we're doing it, because we're all simplified. I mean, that's Colleen's name, and I like to keep it simple, stupid, because if it's not simple, it's not easy. People won't click, people won't find you, and we're going to talk about you. So that's what we're doing today. We've just had already a few more signups, and we're just launching this morning for the school platform, and we'll talk about that in a second. But we're also talking about partnerships on shows and sharing you through the social media. So it's just simple stuff. We're going to talk, no muss, no fuss, what your goal is, where we're going to share you. It's very simple. It's all right there. We want to make it as easy as possible to do what we have in place. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about that?
I will just say that, on top of that, the way that I've been building businesses for a long time. And so I have a specific way of setting my businesses up. And the way that I've set my business up, I have the opportunity to share with different groups of people, of over 800,000 people. And so I really take advantage of that, of sharing to these different groups in different places and really getting the word out there. And that includes any events that we do, I share that way. And so that just adds a little bit to it. Now let's talk a little bit about branding, because branding, for me, when I think of branding, it's not just your colors, it's the way that you talk, the way that you present yourself. It is the way that you become familiar to other people. And so when your name is mentioned, something comes up. Unlike the people whose summit I went to first, couldn't remember their name.
Right.
It was a bright purple color. That's all I got, you know. That's pretty sad. But being seen and heard, coming to events like this, supporting other people by going to summits, but also getting your sponsorship out, your commercial out, your placards out, getting mentioned in newsletters, all of these things, and always presenting the same consistently over and over and over is super important. Nicole, let's talk a little bit more about the simplification process too. And so when I take what I do on my back end and my clients' back ends is I take the process and completely simplify it so that when you get your lead gens, they're getting tagged, an identifying tag that tags where they came from and puts them into a workflow that then begins a nurture sequence, and they're getting automatically reached out to about the event that they attended, your thoughts on that, and how you can help them with that, thoughts on other speakers, things like that. Go right into that so that they are automatically getting the opportunity to push different buttons and connect back with you by joining your newsletter, reading your blog, reading different articles, seeing other times that you've been out there, been seen and heard. And
That's
so
huge.
building that relationship really just is super important. But if all you're doing is collecting your leads, say that you speak at a summit or speak on a podcast, you get some leads and they sit, then good for you. Your numbers in your email list went up. Cool. It does absolutely nothing for you. You have to have that follow-up system in place that really takes care of them and nurtures them and tells them more about what you're about and really lets them get to know you. And so that's why the combination of Nicole and I together in the school platform works really well together. Um,
It does because, here's a fail, and this is an important thing, and this is where it goes into the school and us working together in the collaboration. A a big fail is that you're collecting the leads like you're collecting boxes of Christmas crap and putting it in your garage until the next year, and you have boxes you haven't touched in 10 years, right? Those are like the leads that are untouched. You need to go back into that closet, pull out those leads, and to talk to them. That's where the sale happens. It doesn't happen necessarily the first time on a virtual stage. You do have to connect, you do have to chat, you do have to engage. As long as you have your lead magnet and your workflow sequence set up, you can go anywhere on any stage, anytime, and be ready to go. So you've got to talk to them before the event, during the event, and after the event. And when you have that trine set up, that's the thing. That's what we do is we teach these in group settings as well, to share that how do you get seen and heard, to make it as simple as possible, because there's so many people out there that say, I have a thing, you need to buy this thing. And not only do they ditch you with the know-how and the guidance, but it's only one unit, one piece, one cog in the widget, and you feel like the whole system is full of shenanigans, right? Is a leprechaun going to come out and fix the machine for you? It's not going to happen. You have to have that full picture, and that's what gives you the glow up and the level up in this, and saying, hey, what do I do? I failed on stages, I failed on podcasts, I'm not getting anything back. Are you talking to them, or are you just sharing a Google Doc you can't get email with in there at all, right?
Absolutely. And so the school platform also offers the opportunity for us to not only discuss different business pain points and create solutions for them, work with you side by side to do those things, but also it gives us the opportunity to really work with you one on one and help you with things that maybe you struggle with when it comes to speaking online. Maybe you don't know what to say, or maybe you don't know how to get the cue cards up or your slide deck put together. Things like that really help you get prepared so that you're confident in what you're sharing and what you're doing. And that is huge because people can tell too, Nobody expects you to not stumble, especially when you're first starting, but they do expect you to continue to get better. And so that's what this is about, is being able to take you and help you become a better speaker, become a better presenter of your business in all instances, and then just really simplify your business so that that frees up your time so that you can be the face and voice of your business, get out there, get seen and get heard. Nicole, What do you predict will be the most significant change in how businesses need to approach visibility to cut through the noise?
Well, you need to use your social media to your advantage. Just getting on Facebook and sharing a picture of your neighbor's cute vanity plate doesn't help besides you're squealing out the husband doing whatever he's doing at the TGI Fridays, right? You don't take shots. Nobody wants to see your salad. They definitely don't want to know what your neighbor's doing. TMI. And the problem with Facebook is next year they're making severe changes. Facebook kind of dangles and teases. It's like that hot boy, right? That comes through and you're all way cool and he dangles a few things and then you find out there's no interest, right? You remember those fun days. What happens is that you need to have the group that's there flowing. Facebook is going to take all these cool tools, they put it in front of you, and then they steal it away. If you remember a few years ago, I cannot say this enough, and I know I repeat myself, but it's important to notate. Facebook brought all these really cool groups together. People were making millions of dollars and forgot what? They forgot to take the lead. No phone number, no email. Facebook totally shut them down. People lost thousands and millions of dollars overnight, literally. Could never get back on Facebook. You got shut out. You're not going to do this on the school platform. It's about business, and that's why Alex Hormozy invested in this. If you guys don't see how simple he runs his business, Myron Golden, all these people are on this platform to say, hey, this is about business, it's about connection, and it's free. The other thing that you cannot do on Facebook is post something to specific people. If they're not on your group, you can't post and share and conversate, right? In school, you can. You can have private messages. You can put this on a one-to-one. We can reach out to the group. Here's our podcast. Here's our open learning lab. Here's our solutions lab, right? That it's so easy to go in here. Let me bring this page up and you just come in there for free. That's what you have to do because we have we'll have like solutions lab and learning lab. There's some open office hours for people on the free platform to say this, we want you to shine. This is what's going to happen in 2026. If you don't have your first quarter up, what are you doing? You
I love
probably,
that, Nicole. Now
right?
let's touch on the open office hours. And so for me, that I'm going to host open office hours Monday through Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:30 Central Standard Time. And Nicole will be from 5 to 6 on Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m. Is that Eastern Time or Central?
Yeah, it's mine's Eastern time. But you guys, it'll show up on this handy dandy calendar here in your time zone. So if you're not familiar with the platform, it's very simple to use. It's a lot easier to use in a lot of this social media. But the other thing is it's all going to be listed in your time zone. If you don't see something, let us know. We'll reach out to you.
So another thing that we're doing inside of here that may be helpful to some of you is we are teaching you how to take, if you are on a podcast with us, how to take that podcast and, as Nicole was saying, use it on your social media. So not only just talking about it, driving people to go watch the full replay of it, but also how to take the short clips and use that to promote your business. So we're talking 20-second to 90-second clips of you speaking about your business, touching on your clients' pain points, and use those as your social media posting. And that is huge. It's so simple to do. Once you know how and once you have a system for it, it's super easy to do. And it really just gets that message out there without you having to scramble and try to come up with something new every time you want to post on social media. So I think that is really big. And I see a trend, Nicole, correct me if you don't see it, let me know. But I see a trend. We went through the I think everybody was doing things to draw attention to themselves, all the dancing on the counters, tables, all the and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm out. I'm not that girl anyways. But yeah, that didn't. And then there was a faceless trend. Like everybody be faceless. Have faceless accounts. And I was like, well, that's the dumbest thing ever. Let's go to social media and not be social. Okay. And then there was aesthetically pleasing. And I'm like, okay, well, that I'm a farm girl. Like, you just don't know if there's going to be a chicken on my lap or a lamb right here or a naked grandbaby run by. You just don't know what's going on over here. And so, yeah, I can do the aesthetically pleasing. That's not going to work. And now I see everything going, let's be relatable. let's actually build relationships. So I'm like, oh, thank the good Lord, I'm finally home. I can do
Yes.
I love people. I love connecting. I loving help. I love helping them really see the possibilities and options that they have with their business, with their great business ideas that they have, how they can monetize them, how they can build them out. I love everything business, and I love helping people with their business. And so for me, the relatability factor coming back into popularity, if you will, is a huge plus. Nicole, is that what you're seeing coming?
I am, and I just want to notate to the people that are here, Monday Morning Coffee Chat is going to have engagement, and that's what we're talking about. And in a few minutes, we'll let you guys come up to the mic and ask questions because we want to power you in your business, and it's all about engagement. It's 2026, it's engagement. I mean, you're talking about having a lamb on your lap. That's a disruptor pattern. People know you're real. Everybody says they want a homestead. Well, this is what it's like, right? This is how you do it. This is the laptop life. I don't necessarily want to see the boogers in your nose or see that you woke up and your hair's all over the place. I mean, unless we're not doing a live. There is those moments you do want to kind of brush your hair and put a semi-clean or what looks like clean because you can filter it out top on when you're going live. There is something in that when somebody walks in your store just in it's a repeatable the data and the analytics is out there that when they see you they want to know that you did something right. They want to know that you've had your coffee, you're awake, you're relatable, you're engageable. They do want to know that, but you don't need all the darn filters. They're for us older ladies, and it's not for the young kids. Why are these 16-year-olds on a filter? Who knows why? But here's the thing. It's you need to engage. You need to talk to your audience. You need to be with your audience. That's huge. It's not just getting on social media. What are you doing after that when you get somebody on a DM? Are you meeting them in a group? What happens when you have a client and we talked about the workflow and the follow-up? Where do they go after that? Is there a group that you have? And I have groups, Colleen's got groups. Why not put them together and give the whole package? That's what this is about, is that we're doing these groups and we're kind of repeating that pattern. And so if we bring it together, it's a better group, right? Because we're giving you the full picture. We're not just giving you a piece of the pie and saying, hey, 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 you got to pay the $50,000 and get nothing out of it. It's really, you want to go home with that and work with the group that's here that's going to work with you. But it is so engaging. A lot of these people have some school platforms, and I've been on there for a little bit with other people. They put the platform there and they forget to tell people that the live is not going to be on today. They forget to email people and say, hey, we canceled it. They didn't take it off their calendar. They don't answer. They don't talk to people on the platform. They're not looking at that every day, at least in a 24-hour period, to engage with people. That's what they want. So that's what we're doing. You've got two different humans that are coming out here to engage with you, and you can get on of course, a call with us to say, hey, I want to learn more about you. I want to talk to you. I want to engage with you. Or there's something maybe that you need the goods or the services. But it's cyclical. And we talk about doing business this way. That's why we collaborated. And that's the importance of the engagement, is to bring these groups together in one place, so we can give them everything that they need for the first year.
So let's turn some question time over for our audience. I have a question. I want to know, speaking of year-end events, this is the end of 2025. I want to know what's one thing you did in 2025 that really moved the needle in your business. Just one thing. It can be simple. And then also, what's one thing you hope to do or you have every intention of doing in 2026 to move the needle that you're going to do different than last year? So if anybody wants to hop on and answer that, I would love some interaction. Mike, are you handy?
Oh, there's Valerie here.
There's
Come up,
Valerie.
Valerie.
Come on up,
Awesome.
Val.
So, one thing I did in my business this year was I really just compounded my visibility and my exposure on LinkedIn. And I refined that, I perfected it, and I made certain that I posted every day something relatable. And it is bearing some fruit. And so I think that is a measurable thing that I did.
I love that. And I think it's huge that you said it's relatable because I see so many people just put like almost statistical things out, right? And so I don't think that's what we want. Um, Anybody else?
I heard I looked at a post yesterday on LinkedIn, and they said that there's criticism about people putting personal things, but then the rebuttal to that was that's a good thing that because you are showing that you are personal, you are real, you are relatable. So it was like an argument about it, and I think the relatable half of the argument was winning.
I love that too. And I think that when I say that I show up on screen sometimes with a lamb on my lap, let me clarify that because I would never come on a live and just have a lamb on my lap. But I did go attend a summit and I was an attendee and they did some game they called popcorn and they said, we're gonna call on Colleen because she's had her camera off this whole time. Turn your camera on. So I turned my camera on. Well, the reason I had my camera off was because I was nursing a lamb. And so feeding a lamb a bottle on my lap. And so I turned my camera on. I'm like, here you go. Not to be caught with my pants down or anything, but this is how I roll sometimes. And so here I am with the lamb, and they're like, oh my gosh, what's that? And what's it wearing? It's got a costume on. I'm like, no, it has a onesie and a diaper on because it's in the house and it's a lamb and whatever. But there's been another time when I had a chicken that flew up on my lap. I was outside on a swing for a live and a chicken flew up on my lap. So, these things are real, but there's also a level of professionalism that should always be there. Ken, did you have something you wanted to add that you've done maybe in the last year that leveled up your business?
Sure. Thanks, Colleen, and thanks, Nicole. This is like a really good update, and I'm so excited to see your new thing. So definitely. So last year, this quite a few months that I've been busy. Like I met one of my clients in Vietnam, which is really good. But the one thing I realized doing this that I became so busy, like I don't have time to post on social media anymore, or even my LinkedIn, there's no update. But it's like I have meetings, and then what I realized, and I said no to a few of them, even though they're potential clients, because I realized that I need to stop trying to be everything to everyone because I cannot do everything to everyone. So then I started focusing on my skills and clarity that I start, like my business start to become more cohesive instead of just capable. Yes, I'm capable of doing this. Yes, I can learn this. But when you stop trying to be everything to everyone, and that's when you get more focus in your business.
I noticed too, Ken, that this year you came out a lot more in networking. And so just you were seen and heard a lot more. I think that you did a summit and you did a couple other things too that really put you out there. How did that work for you? Did you feel like that was a plus for your business? You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah. So definitely the summit did a lot of good because not only that I'm putting myself out there, but I'm also learning from all the people that presented in that summit and all those power partner that you had, Colleen. So they've been in the business longer than I do. I've been like 8 years, but like I'm young and I learn from the people that's having business throughout their life and different businesses, different fields. So yeah, it really did good for me, not only for myself, but also learning from other people that have other businesses.
I love that. All right, Mike, I'm going to come back and put you on the spot. Tell us what you did in 2025 that really leveled your business up and what you are going to do different in 2026.
Y'all are amazing. I appreciate y'all. I'm still off today, but I'm here. That says it all.
Yeah.
So love you ladies, y'all. Y'all show up for me when it's not convenient. So yeah, love it. And the takeaway from this, amazing. So what did I do 2025? Gosh, well, took more personal responsibility for everything. That's a hard pill to swallow. And then I realized, I just have a high paying job at best if I don't do the things I don't want to do, right? If I don't put in the systems, right? Colleen simplified, system. And leveled up on coaching, clients, standard, just really saying yes to everything. That was it. Hey, yes, why not us? right? It turned into hell yes us, right? Like, and so just building that momentum, building up people, you know, amazing folks that are already here in the Hounds. I mean, I don't have to go looking for them. There's you, there's Nicole, right? Like just saying yes and celebrating the wins and going, you know, we can do this. Reach for the stars. Yeah, I mean, worst case, grab a tree branch, right? So if you don't reach for something high, you're gonna go grab nothing high. And so I think it was just us going, hey, here's what we're about. What are we about? A safe community that's built on trust first. That's it. If it doesn't match the mold, if it doesn't advance the mission, it's got to go, right? Or it's got to be on pause. So for me, it was just being resolute. This is what we are for. This is what we are not for. If it filters in, great. If it doesn't, maybe later, right? Does that make sense? It was
Yeah, that's
less.
a good line to draw for sure. And
Yeah.
so did you feel like all the pieces came to play and where the timing was perfect and everything was aligned perfect and you could just show up and grace us with your presence? Or was it a little unnerving? Was it a little bit like, oh geez, I'm not quite sure that I know exactly what I'm doing, but by golly damn, I'm gonna go do it. Which was it?
But it was both, and I think it's both. Sometimes Nicole might vouch for this. Sometimes you knock down one area of life, right? Well, Colleen, you know this. You built 800 businesses, right? So, you know, you knock down one thing, but then it kind of causes an effect on some other area of your life, maybe personal or maybe some other business area. And I don't know where we got this myth that everybody's well balanced all the time. Okay, take that somewhere else. I just don't subscribe to that. It doesn't practical. What I do subscribe to is harmony, right? Harmony. That means sometimes I'll put 80% into my work. I might, you know, fun time, family time might go to the wayside a few days or a week because you have to crush it, right? But then I had to realize if Michael Phelps doesn't go hardcore training, right, he rests on the day before the Olympics, then what's my excuse, right? In other words, it's me versus me. And once you win that war with you versus you, you have the clarity, you have what you need. It's a soft skill. And so for me, it was realizing that it is nasty. It's not just the destination, it's not just the journey. What I've discovered this year was it's who you become that counts the most, right? In other words, I'm not valuable because I produce and give value. As a human being, I'm valuable because I am. And then because of who I am, now I can produce valuable stuff, right? As a byproduct, not as an identity. Does that make sense? I know it's deep, right? But
That does make sense. And so stepping into 2026, the big pivot you're making, what's that look like? What's
well,
the big thing you're adding or changing or leveling up?
all of it. So you know, saying we're going into Podfest, right? We got about 6 people now. Kindness Worldwide is joining us. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it yet. So you know, so much massive excitement. Now it's just building out the process, and everybody says, "Well, you need to build out your process first." I'd argue for heart-centered people like us, people building from dirt, people who didn't plan on starting that business or organization or nonprofit, who just passionate, right, with no clue in the beginning. I don't agree with that. I think when the hardest part is building a true identity, right, or brand or authority, figuring that out, internal clarity. And then when you go, oh my God, I need a website, right? Like I didn't want to buy a $5,000 website, nobody looking at it. I wanted to make sure people looked at it or, well, where's your website? Oh crap, I need to build a website, right? And what you're teaching is very balanced, right? Hey, build your identity, but as soon as you see people starting to vibe with that, start building your infrastructure. So I just, as Valerie was saying earlier, you know, everybody's got an opinion. They're like, you know what, right? Everybody's got one. But I think what matters most is that you find what you need, right? And you find your tribe. It could be us at the Hounds of Business, could be Colleen and partners, but it may not be, right? So just go shop around, give it a fair shot, you know, and then what last thing, 2026, here it is. Most people I've seen in 2025 made this mistake. They say yes and no to stuff that they don't have a clue about. Before you say yes and no to something, go get
Sure
the
do.
information. Yeah, go to the coffee chat, go to the summit, talk to people, research, not just Google search, do research, and then make an informed decision, yes or no. That's the only calling card. People, oh, I don't want to do that. You don't even know what the hell that is. Okay, so that,
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
from experience because I stayed an amateur for very long, years, decades, because I thought I had all the answers. I thought I knew. Oh, well, that's not for me. And just like Jim Rome said, they never showed up. They never took the class. They never went to the webinar. And that's the calling card. Get yourself an opportunity will not sit its ass on the couch next to you. You got to go up there and make it happen. right?
Absolutely.
And it is messy. It is messy. Don't expect it to be easy, but expect to conquer and expect to overcome it.
Right.
That's what
But
we're about.
do you know and are you aware when the opportunity shows up? You can hem and haw and pray and meditate for these wonderful things, but like you said, Mike, are you recognizing the opportunity when it comes? Are you taking a second to kind of maybe even Google, go to chat or talk to somebody about what this thing is and get to know more? And that's very important as well.
Oh, daggum straight. Well
Absolutely.
said.
And saying yes to people, if you don't know about it and you've been given an opportunity, then absolutely reach out and connect with whoever it is in charge and say, "Hey, let's connect. I want to know more about." And you know what? If they don't connect back, move on. Sure, of course. But give them the opportunity to connect and to explain and to educate you and be open to that education. I'm always about learning and growing and wanting to find out more. And so you have to just reach out and say, "Hey, tell me more about it, let me know more about it so I can see if it's a good fit."
Yeah,
Exactly.
and you
Exactly.
never, last thing, you never know. Like I had 2 years ago, somebody just, oh, we'll put you in this thing. And I was so excited, and it never happened. The three
Hmm.
weeks after they said that, I got a sales pitch for something I couldn't even afford if I sold my kidneys, right? And so 2 years later, I just kept working and people kept introducing us. And finally, that person said, oh, wow. Like, yeah, I was about 2 foot tall and wasn't ready yet. All of a sudden, now I'm like The Rock. You were a skinny kid in high school and now you're 300 pounds Samoan. So you can win people over. You just have to be willing to do the internal work, the external work, and just keep going. Forget outcomes. Forget outcomes. If you plant a seed in the right soil and take care of that like a farmer should, then it's impossible not to get a crop. Now, if you dump the same seed in concrete, good luck. And I think that's where people like us get twisted. We hear other people in other camps say, oh, well, you have to do it this way. You have to outcomes, outcomes. I'm going to do this thing for that effect. No, I'm going to go and plant a bunch of seeds, take care of them. Some will crop, some won't. So what? And that takes the stress off of you, and it becomes an attraction like a bug zapper versus all the dadgum dog catching, all the DMs, all the pestering, all the selling ball people haircuts. And that's why I love y'all. That's why I'm here, because y'all are attracting people to the things they need. And you're not saying, listen, if you don't like your style, great, but a lot do, right? So some people ain't going to get it, some won't. And honestly, I think the Hounds is like 2 out of 100 get it. But think about it. There's 8 billion people on the planet, man. 2 out of 100, that's a
Right.
lot of people. Because we're not trying to be the biggest. We're trying to be known for who we are, which is the most trusted. So I love you ladies, love what you're doing, and I can't wait. That's why I'm up here working, because we are going to explode it in 2026 and just level up.
Yeah, and I love that. I love the relatability factor. We're all here to build relationships, and if it doesn't work, just like any other relationship, then move along, right? But
Absolutely.
when we can bring things to the table, when we have something that we know and hold in our hearts to be true and to be valuable, then we do have a duty to share that with the people around us. And there are, like you said, billions of people. So it will connect with the people that it should connect with. And as Ken said, really narrowing down what you do and who you do it for and focusing on that instead of being a jack of all trades and wanting to do it all. Yeah, that's not going to get anybody anywhere. So Nicole, moving forward, let's
It's 12, friend. We're
it's
on the hour. Look at that.
yeah.
How
And so
awesome.
everybody can check out our brew and stew media spotlight.com. And then next week, we have big, huge changes coming for Monday Morning Coffee Chat. Will no longer be Monday Morning Coffee Chat. Um, and I'm really looking forward to the changes. I think it's going to be great. And we will be next week also um, promoting the Voice Lab. So if you want more information about that, we'll be doing that next week. Nicole, do you have any closing thoughts?
Well, this is why we've collaborated and what we've talked about engagement. So we can curate a community with the communities that we participate in, and for us both to curate a community where people can come and learn, is this the right thing for me to choose? Is this maybe something I should ditch? This is why we built the community, so you can come in here to the safe place to say, hey, I'm not sure, ask the questions. And that's what is so great about, joining the school or being on the podcast, because we're here to support you and we're open to questions. So we are ready to rock 2026 and show up with a bang, because we've got the summit stages, we've got podcast stages, we've got all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's any questions that we haven't asked or haven't been asked and haven't had experience in. And so it's definitely like a free for all. Just ask whatever needs asked. I've been doing business a long time. I've seen a lot of things. And I think that Nicole, you too, you've been in business a while, and so we have answers. And better than that, if we don't have the answers, we know where to go get the answers for you. So we look forward to that. And with that, thank you everybody for attending the last Monday morning coffee chat of 2025.
Ooh, all right. Celebrate. Woo, 2026. I'll see you in the new year.
Yay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.